Hey everyone, Dark Dragoon here. Thought I'd take a little bit of a break from my Let's Play to give you guys a look at something I'm very much looking forward to. Guild Wars 2. They're running a stress test event today. So this video you might notice there might be some weird cuts in it, that sort of thing. That's because of the nature of the stress test. You know, the game might go down and there might be some small hiccups. So I'll do my best to try to sort of cut that stuff out if it shows up, but I can't really anticipate if it's going to happen. So just bear with me and enjoy. If you haven't had a first look at this game quite yet, hopefully you'll learn a few things about what makes it different than other MMOs. Guild Wars 2, if you don't know, is upcoming MMO. However, no monthly subscription, which is very nice. You just pay for the game and it's yours, which I'm increasingly a fan of as sort of time goes on. I mean, I played WoW, you know, I've played a lot of MMOs. I've played a lot of MMOs with subscription plans, and we're pretty much at almost at the point where I have a hard time even justifying playing a game if it has a subscription plan, just because there are so many great options for games that don't have a subscription plans. So right here we're just in sort of the tutorial area for the Norn race. They're pretty much a race of sort of giantish barbarian types. You can't really see sort of how this character compares to, say, a human character, but I can tell you from experience that these guys are quite a bit larger. We seem to be fighting these sort of worm things as part of this event, which takes place in the very early stages of the story from the Norn, called the Great Hunt. You can see combat is pretty dynamic. We got a couple skills down here that we just sort of use. And we're going to get a little bit of a cutscene as an even bigger worm comes out of the ground. This is the real thing we were after here. Sorry about that, adjusting on mic a little bit. That looks fairly impressive. So, we're going to start fighting this thing. Isormir is his name. And you're going to notice something kind of weird happen at one point. I'll point it out when it does and what I'm talking about, because some people might be a little confused. Okay, here we go. Alright, you saw how I pretty much just went down instantly and I really didn't have a choice. That is intentional. The game, because this is sort of the tutorial, the game sort of wants to show you how the death mechanics of the game work, which is pretty important because unlike a lot of MMOs, the game actually does expect you to go down. It does not expect you to die, but it expects you to go down to 0 hit points sometimes. And the reason for that being is when you do go down to 0 hit points, you pretty much fall down on the ground like you saw, and you have something of an opportunity to get yourself back in the fight. Either, usually that happens in one of sort of 3 ways. Either you can get yourself up by killing an enemy that is trying to kill you, or you can everyone has an ability that if they're not in combat and not being attacked, they will sort of use it to gradually heal themselves, which is a really neat ability, and you'll get yourself off all the ground. The third possibility is that somebody, either just someone random in the world or one of your friends that you're sort of running around with, will run over and will pull you back to your feet. And so what's important about this is that all of these things work in combat. So literally the game does expect you to go down off your feet every now and then and have to sort of fight your place in the fight. Fight for your place. Basically fight to survive. That's in fact what they call it. So You can see we've got a little bit of beta windows popping up. That is because this is a beta, but I have done this stuff numerous times, so I'll skip that for now, just so for the sake of time and ease. Now you can see this is our inventory. We've got a backpack, and we collect these leather bags. Now, you'll see I just picked up a new weapon, a war horn. You might be wondering, how's a war horn a weapon? Well, basically, the way Guild Wars 2 works is your abilities, as you can see down here, are entirely based on your weapon. And as you pick up new weapons and use them, you will unlock new abilities for them. And right now, I've gotten all 3 of the abilities for my main hand weapon, which you can see is pretty much a sword. But I don't have an offhand weapon yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop in here to my inventory here, my hero screen, and put that offhand weapon there. And you'll see my abilities that are set to my 4 and 5 keys have just, well, they're darkened right now because I don't know them. I haven't unlocked them yet. And to unlock them, I basically have to fight things with my sword. But you can see that the Warhorn has a couple interesting abilities, which hopefully I'll be able to show you once we unlock them. So, we have someone to talk to. This guy here with the little green star over his head. We'll talk to him. He's going to tell us a little bit about the area we're in, and a little bit about how questing works in this game, which is quite unique compared to a lot of MMOs, and it's something that some people don't quite understand yet, and I'll try to sort of explain my take on how it works. But there's a couple different ways of questing. There's basically what's called the story quest. That's pretty much your typical questing experience. You know, you have a purpose, you go do it, you complete the mission, you return to your guy, he gives you stuff. That's pretty normal. Pretty much that's the traditional way of going about it. In Guild Wars 2, there are a couple other sort of quests that you can do. Right now, he's actually explaining. This guy's sort of explaining some of them. First of all, there are these things. Well, you know what? Let's go up here and I'll explain what this little teal chevron-looking thing is. As you can see, it wants us to go back up to the tutorial area where we killed that big worm, right? Basically, there are these things called skill points in the world. And the use for these skill points is in purchasing new traits and abilities from the trait menu. These abilities are typically sort of your 7 through 9 abilities, and your levels, your 10 ability there. That's unlocked at level 30, so you won't get that one for a while. But those are basically class-based. And there's usually quite a few options for everyone, so it's really your opportunity to sort of customize your character and make him or her exactly what you want. So you can see I just got basically I just got one of these skill points by clicking on this thing. Some of them are like that. Sometimes they're just, hey, click on this thing and or get this little piece of lore. Other times it's a little event that will occur that you'll have to complete before you'll get your skill point. So that's one type of, I guess we'll call it a quest, as some of them are actual little fights and that sort of thing. So that's one thing, and the reward you get for that is you get a little bit of experience, but more importantly you get trait points, which will be very important.
Nothing can bring me down.
This thing right here, I'll go ahead and explain it while I'm passing it, is a waypoint. In this game they decided that, hey, fast travel, people like it. So if you played Skyrim at all, you'll understand what I mean when I say fast travel. It's basically these waypoints. As you unlock them, you'll notice as I pull up my map, I do have one down here, the Hero's Moot, but there should be waypoints elsewhere in the zone, which probably, I think to the south there should be one. As you unlock it, you can then use it to quickly travel between points. Now, I am actually going to use this skill to get us up to this first heart so I can explain exactly what hearts are. As they are another form of quest in Guild Wars 2. So, we're going to run up here. We're not exactly right at it, but we're pretty close. Okay, you saw I got kind of close to this event here, this heart event, and you can see something has popped up in the top right of my screen. This is basically how questing works in Guild Wars 2. You'll a lot of times you'll just sort of wander between heart events, which are sort of these sort of like quests. I mean, there is a person here who is sort of providing the quest, but their real purpose there is you're basically doing some work for them, and in exchange, once you are done, that heart will fill up, and you can use it to purchase equipment using basically what amounts to um, tokens called renown, or it's karma rather. Sorry. You can spend these karma points to basically buy gear from him, from the heart guy, and that's pretty much how you get your sort of quest rewards. So this quest right now we're answering Raven's riddles. So consume me and you will choke, but within me is the key to life and growth. What am I? Earth. Raven is pleased with your insight. Now you'll notice as I answer that question, that little bar next to the heart increase. That's not just me. As everyone around me here is doing this quest, that heart will slowly increase for all of us. So that's sort of the other thing about this game, is it very much supports the idea that everyone's sort of working together, whether or not they're in a group or not. That you're all sort of working towards the same ends. Your hand cannot contain me, your eye cannot see me, I am fleeting when held, but you can catch me if you stand still. What am I? This one's an interesting one. I don't remember this one. My initial reaction is to say breath, but time is also a more vague. Let's go with breath. Okay, breath was right. Cool. So, actually, another interesting thing about this game is the way a lot of the questing events work is there's usually quite a few different things you can do, be it kill monsters or pick things up or do some other sort of task, and they will all count towards the completion of that quest. So you can sort of do what you want. If you really like killing stuff, you can do that, and you're still contributing to the sort of group effort. If you don't like doing that, or if you happen upon another thing, like I'm randomly finding these eggs on the ground, you can do that too, and that's okay. So here's another riddle. I was alive when I fell, but among thousands of others, I died from being alone. Under your foot, my thin skin crumbles into dust. What am I? Dead leaves. Yep. So you can see that some of these riddles are actually kind of tricky. Some are easier. I think one of the things I like the most about this so far is just how it leaves you free to do what you want, instead of sort of holding your hand and forcing you to collect, collect random things if you don't want to. I am personally not a huge fan of the kill monsters, steal their, various body parts, and hand them over to a guy. It's always seemed rather strange to me. But you'll see, I just completed this random event, which was to do the riddles. That actually, you notice, wasn't a part of the heart event, and that brings us to the other type of sort of questing in Guild Wars 2, which I think is the most interesting. Is the idea of the dynamic event. Now, some people have they get a little confused by the term dynamic event. Basically, dynamic, keep this in mind, does not mean random. These events are pretty much always the same, no matter if you're playing this character or another character that's a Norn. Um, so they're not random. It's not going to be different every time you go through. But what it does mean is there are a lot of these dynamic events, and they're always ongoing. So when you enter a zone, you might not necessarily be showing up in an area when an event is going on, and that's okay. You don't necessarily have to do every event sort of in order like you would have to do a quest. So what it really wants you to do, what the game expects you to do, is to just sort of explore around, go to these hard events, sort of travel between them, and when you come upon an event, when you sort of one just starts happening around you, you're encouraged to join in or don't, whether, you know, to whatever your leisure is. If you feel like doing one, you can stop and do it. But if you don't, you can keep going, and that works too. The game doesn't really force you to do much of anything. The one place it sort of forces you to do certain things, which is okay but not great, is in some of the story questing. It does sort of force you into having a particular like heroic personality, so you can't really decide, oh, this is how my character would respond to, you know, helping babies, which is a little disappointing, but hey, you know, it's sort of the more traditional questing experience, so it's not necessarily, you know, not everything in a game is going to be for everyone. That's not really for me, but it might be for some other people, so I totally respect that. And I think a game like this should work that way. I think it, by its very nature, needs to offer something to everyone and offer something different to everyone, and to offer them what they like. Otherwise, obviously, people are not going to stick around for very long. So we pretty much all finished up there, and you saw I talked to the heart vendor, and he had a couple, not too much, a couple different things though. But I ended up buying a pretty much they're called accessories, but they're almost like little trinkets, little pieces of loot that you can put on. So I put that on, and I'm wearing it because, hey, putting on gear is fun. Alright, so you can see I was just sort of traveling south here, and I ran into an event that I was talking about. You can see Stampeding Minotaur morale is at 83%. So what they want us to do is run down here and kill these Minotaur, because they're stampeding around, they're hurting things. Okay, I can see that this bug is still here. I've not fixed this yet. You can see I'm attacking like crazy this Minotaur, but he's invulnerable, so I'm gonna stop that before I drive myself insane. Ah, there we go. Whoop. Man, he just ran me over, didn't he? Alright, this one we can kill possibly. Wow, he is just knocking me all over the place. There we go. Now, you might be wondering, okay, so I understand how you die, I understand how you quest. What class is the healer? Well, what class is the tank? Well, let me be perfectly honest with you, there aren't any. I know that might sound strange and be sort of against all conventional ways of thinking, but basically Guild Wars 2 expects that everyone play what they want, and that you play with people you like to play with. As opposed to going, hey, you need a tank and a healer and a DPS to succeed. Now you can see you do take a lot of damage, but that's, like I said before, that's sort of expected. You can see I'm desperately fighting to survive here, and I don't know if I actually am going to. I think I probably will die, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my 3 ability, which lets me fight on, but I will die anyway eventually. My 4 ability is the ability that I could have used outside of combat to get myself back up and heal myself back up from the ground. So you can see I was defeated, but that's okay. That's going to happen a lot. there's definitely some skill to surviving. There is a mechanic that allows you to dodge attacks, and it's one which becomes increasingly important as you progress through the game. So it's something that you should definitely get comfortable with. You can see I'm sort of rolling. That's not just me randomly rolling through the world, because it's easier to travel by rolling or jumping. That is the dodge. You can see I have a little yellow meter above my health. That is my dodge meter. So as long as I have some of that bar full, I can dodge. But when it's empty, like, well, it pretty much is right now, I can't dodge. So the trick is very much you are totally expected to not just stand there and take every attack, but to avoid some. And so, because there's no healers, everyone in the game has some kind of healing ability. And usually every class, well, I'm not even going to say usually, always, every class has multiple different healing abilities that they can access. These cost some of those skill points that, like the one I picked up earlier, to learn new ones. Right now I have this thing called Healing Surge. It pretty much lets me heal myself and builds up some of my adrenaline, which powers my flurry ability. You'll notice too that I can swing my sword over here and it's not doing anything. And sometimes you'll actually notice that the word miss flies up. That is not because there's some kind of mechanic within the game that's making me miss. It's literally because I'm out of range, basically. I'm targeting that monster, but I'm not actually in range to attack him. That's why it's saying I'm missing him, because I'm literally missing him, which is something I'm very excited about in this game. Never been a huge fan of miss mechanics. It just feels like wasted time, basically. And I don't really like it when games assume my time is worthless. I mean, I'll be quite honest, my time is pretty much worthless, but I don't like games assuming that for some reason. So yeah, so this is pretty much how questing works in this game. You sort of travel from place to place, and you complete whatever is going on. Some of these events take longer than others. Some of them are over fairly quickly. But you can see there's a lot of people here. You wonder how this many people could actually get through a zone without sort of stepping on each other and sort of being more of a nuisance than anything else. Well, in Guild Wars 2, there's no more, mob stealing or, I mean, you don't technically even have to be in a group for us all to do this together. We're all here contributing to it. And so the game actually sort of wants you, if you see someone in trouble on the road, help them, because they're probably doing an event, first of all, and by helping them and getting involved, you are doing the event as well, and thus getting the rewards for it. You will notice some of the quests that I did, I got these weird little medals. That's pretty much how the game decides how much a reward you get. Depending on how much you contribute to an event, you'll get a little more XP and karma and that sort of thing. It's pretty forgiving. You don't have to necessarily, go crazy and do all the damage in order to get sort of the highest tier of reward. You pretty much just need to be there and be helping out. If you just stand there and do nothing, you won't really get much of a reward. But if you help out, if you make an effort, you will get sort of your gold medal. Let's see, we're down to 23%. So you can see this event is one that lasts a little bit longer. Each of these lasts a little bit longer even than it's intended to, because some of these we can't kill. But hey. There we go. As I get run over about 80 times by multiple Minotaur. You guys see me flop around like a dead fish. Now, interestingly enough, as I was mentioning about how missing works, you actually can hit multiple targets with one swing of your sword. So, and you can see I did finally learn a new ability, one from my Warhorn, and why not? I'm going to use it. Charge grants swiftness to myself and all allies. That's cool. Swiftness, obviously, a movement speed increase. Um, so that's not just a hey, I'm going to charge in. That's everyone around me is going to get that benefit. It also removes cripple effects, which are pretty much your snares. It's vulnerable, so I'll stop wasting my time on it. You can see it removes cripple, which is a snare, like I said. It removes immobilize, which is a root, and frozen, which is obviously a even worse sort of snare, also as an attack slow. So that'll remove all of those things. It has a pretty decent range, 1200. Alrighty. Almost done. We're at 8% for the Minotaur morale, but I'm not really seeing too many more. There we go. Nope, that one's vulnerable. Getting knocked all over the place constantly. It's a little frustrating, but hey, you know, I guess everything can't work perfectly all the time, can it? So we'll be at 7% now. Almost there. Alright, we've quite a few people here. Aha. Does that mean we can hurt you now? No. Oh, this giant mass of people seems to have completely destroyed the Minotaur race. I assume they're now extinct. And we succeeded. As you see, the event disappeared and we got some experience points, some karma points, and a little bit of money. And that's pretty much how the game works. This is how it's going to go all the way through. Like I said, you're just going to wander around, run into things, and do them. So this video is probably getting a little bit long. It might be long enough to split into two parts, and I might just do that. I'll have to look into that here in a second. But I think that's where I will close out this video for now. I hopefully would like to give you guys some more looks at this game, because it's something I'm pretty excited about. There's some things about it that are very different. Obviously you can see that ArenaNet's trying to sort of innovate some things about MMOs and do things a little bit different. Which I think is interesting at the very least, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing sort of how the end result comes out. It's obviously, it looks very much done, but they're not ready to give this one out yet. They're still doing a lot of work on it, and I think that's a good thing. I'm very happy with what I've seen so far, so I anxiously await them sort of continuing their hard work and really producing a good product. So this is where we'll call it, as I'm standing here on this roof. Hopefully you guys enjoyed and learned a little something about Guild Wars 2. Stay tuned for some more videos about it. Hopefully there'll be another beta weekend and I can do something a little more in depth. But until then, I will catch everyone later. Thanks for watching.